Okay, this is 252 Pop Fiction, where you'll find all the news and reviews and pop culture that's right to type. Today's top story. As pressure to change their name surges, 3 minority owners of the Washington Redskins are seeking to sell their shares in the team because they are not happy being a partner with owner Daniel Snyder.
People hate Dan Snyder and have hated him for years.
He's been on TV. He says he's so into the tradition of the team that he would never change the name. So NFL's going to have to force him.
That's what it looks like that's going to happen. And, I mean, I heard some pretty clever names. Mm. You know, one would be the obvious, just drop the red and just be the Washington Skins.
Yeah.
I also heard another one, the Washington Red Tails.
I saw Mad TV, the Washington Rednecks.
I saw it was like, I think it was a YouTube or on Twitter or something like that. I saw it on social media. It was a guy who was wearing, it was like a Washington Redskin shirt, but instead of the Redskin symbol, it was just a white dude and it said Caucasians. And people were offended. Like he was just walking, they were like, what's with the shirt? And he was recording people's reactions to him being like, well, they were like, what's with the shirt? You know? And it's like, yeah, offensive, right?
Imagine how,
yeah,
you get it
so,
now.
But that's that hilarious. Was, you know, one man's social experiment.
Well, they should just drop the Skins and be the Washington Reds.
Because
of our obvious ties to Russia. That's right, Donald Trump.
Wow. I didn't know where you were going with that. I was like, we already got the Cincinnati Reds. There's no reason.
I gotta say, it's a tangent I didn't see coming.
I did not see that.
Thank you.
Next story.
Amy Cooper, the woman who was filmed accusing a black man who was birdwatching at the time in Central Park of threatening her, faces a charge of falsely reporting an incident in the 3rd degree, according to the Manhattan District Attorney.
Now, I've been following this story, and the gentleman, the black man in question, he doesn't even want to press any charges. He says that she suffered enough and has, he wants everybody back up off of her.
And the one thing, I mean, the reason why he even recorded the incident in the first place is because his problem was more pet owners allowing their dogs off the leash. Because in this part of the park, where they do that, because he's actually part of the bird watching conservatory for Central Park. I mean, she picked the wrong black guy to be like, he's attacking me.
I know.
He's like,
I like the
first of all, he's gay. He's a comic book writer.
Well, I'm just saying, all that was notwithstanding, he just really wants people to be more responsible pet owners. I think she was more, not only did she lose her job, they took her dog away. Because in the video, she was trying to hold the dog and stuff like that.
She was choking the shit out of the dog.
Yeah, she was.
You know, I can't bag on bird watchers because James Bond is named after a bird watcher.
Is that right?
Yes, Ian Fleming had a book in his library called Birds of the West Indies, written by James Bond. Oh. And that's how he got the name. So, James Bond, the original, the real guy, bird watcher.
All right.
Well, there you go.
That's a tangent.
I did not see that coming.
Another long-time running business is starting to see its end of days, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. Ooh, Dunkin' Donuts, the major coffee and donut chain, announced it will permanently be closing 450 stores by the end of 2020. And I say good riddance.
I didn't know it had 450 stores.
Come on, man. Dunkin' Donuts, man.
It's not a staple of the West Coast. That's
no, it's not big on it. Winchell's is big over here or something.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, every time I go to Chicago, it would be 100 Dunkin' Donuts.
Everywhere.
Gosh.
Okay, this week's review, Hamilton on Disney+. The reimagined story of politician, statesman, and founding father Alexander Hamilton, played by a very largely diverse cast. The movie that is shown on Disney+, which was actually only supposed to be the one day, but they extended it out for the full week. So you could probably still, even after watching this, you could probably still catch it on the Plus.
Way in the future.
Unless we really are behind, because I think we're still a week back.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what? I need to catch it because.
But it's the 2016 performance of Hamilton. And I was one of those people. I was like, okay, they're Hamilton, they're doing the rapping on the thing. And I was like, yeah, okay, miss me with that.
Yeah.
I saw Hamilton. It's pretty good.
I haven't watched it.
Pretty.
I had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle reaction. Like when I first heard that title, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Exactly.
Rap? Founding fathers rapping about the Constitution?
Yes.
That's, oh boy.
And you think that the cast
but it's probably great.
The cast is the majority brown and black, playing all of the founding fathers, and then some people, there was even like this kind of backlash, which is crazy because it's like 5 years later. Well, no, not about that. About them being kind of cavalier with them being slave owners.
Oh.
And it was like, well, you know, it's
that's
not about...
That's how they were back then.
I mean, and it was like, yeah, well, they were saying, well, as, you know, black people, how are you talking? You're the slave owner. You're playing John Adams.
Yeah.
You know, slave owner.
Just watch and enjoy the show.
Yeah, well,
just watch and enjoy the show.
It is good, and it made you learn a little bit about Alexander Hamilton. You know, it did. It did do.
I did a search on the internet, and I accidentally watched the porn parody Hamilton.
Don't laugh at that. Anyway, next story.
This week, JP remembers Sergeant Rock. Everyone remembers Sergeant Rock?
Oh, yeah.
First appeared in GI Combat number 68, only called The Rock. Mm-hmm. So,
very fitting.
The name was stolen. We're going to get a whole...
of Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson, expect a lawsuit from D.C. In Our Army at War, issue 83, which debuted in June 1959, he called himself Sergeant Rock. Okay. And it was you could follow the adventures of Sergeant Rock and Easy Company in the European theaters set in World War II. And with the wonderful comic magic of coincidence, Easy Company was in every famous major battle the war ever had. In Europe, they were there. And it was great. I loved it. It ran from 83 to issue 301 when they changed the title from Our Army at War to Sergeant Rock. Okay. And it ran as Sergeant Rock until issue 422, which concluded in 1977. It's one of my favorite war comics. If you don't know, if you missed the bandwagon, Western and horror of the 70s is just great material. There's some of the best comics that come out in the 70s. Mm-hmm. Check it out, Sergeant Rock.
I always thought Sergeant Rock, for some reason, was Marvel, and I thought he kind of morphed into Nick Fury.
No, Nick Fury it was a war comic, Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos.
Right. And
then later in Strange Tales became Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Mm-hmm. But no, that was Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos. Probably trying to compete with Our Army of War, which was the top selling war comic at the time.
Yeah, that was probably that thing. And I remember Dime was big into Sergeant Rock.
Yeah, he likes all that.
Yeah, all of that.
They're great comics.
That's the reason why he joined the Army. That was crazy.
I could pick better reasons to join the military.
That was the reason why he joined.
He wanted to be Sergeant Rock.
One of the weirdest thing I ever heard was this show on Superfans. This guy was such a Miami Vice fan, and Don Johnson's character, he actually joined the Army because Don Johnson was in the Army as character, and then joined the police force in Miami.
I thought you was going to say he sold cocaine. Ralphie D recommends
Never know.
Biker Boyz. Slick Will, the mechanic for a legendary motorcycle racer named Smoke, played by Lawrence Fishburne, is struck dead during an off-the-grid race. Following the funeral and in opposition to his mother's protests, Slick Will's son, Kid, played by Derek Luke, starts racing in the same fringe circuit. But despite Kid's skill and showmanship, Smoke refuses to race him. Spurned by the man he looked up to, Kid starts a rival motorcycle gang called the Biker Boyz. And showdown between them is inevitable. This movie was directed by John Singleton, the great R.I.P. John Singleton.
Surprisingly, Kid Rock was in it. He was one of the bikers.
Yeah, I remember. The one thing that I remember vividly in that movie is when they raced you for your lid. Like
your lid, yeah.
They
said lid too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. That's why it stuck with me.
I gotta say, I thought it was cheesy. I saw it in the theater. My friend, you remember Greg?
What was the other movie that came out the same time as this one?
No, that came out. Didn't it Fast and Furious?
No,
it was another motorcycle.
It was Biker Boyz and Torque.
Torque, boy.
Because Ice Cube was in that one. And Lawrence Fishburne
fresh off the heels of the motorcycle TV show.
Well, you remember I used to hang out with Greg, and he was into motorcycles.
Yes.
We went and saw this in the theater.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, wow.
He's coming out of the movie theater beaming like,
I always felt like Biker Boyz was like the motorcycle equivalent to Fast and the Furious.
No, it was not.
No, it's
not $1 billion franchise in this one.
I want everyone to just see John Singleton's oeuvre, all right?
Yeah.
Support that man.
He was just more than just a hood rat.
And plus, Lawrence Fishburne, he's a motorcycle enthusiast. I'm Ralphie D, and that's news to me.
I'm Coolwater Kurt. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
We'd like to hear what you think. Leave us a comment down below and let your opinion be heard.
And if you like this video, please check out other videos on our channel like Get Into Character and 252.
I'm JB. I'd like to give a shout out to our local comic book realtors. I surrender. Retailers. Buy those comics. Keep them coming. And this is 252 Pop Fiction, where you hear it first.
Yeah,
I'm the only one that said it. Yeah. Don't yell at me about the other thing.
No, that's all right.
I'm Donis. Pull yourself together.